Welcome back to the show. I'm Drexel Clemens. As always, I'm joined by my partner in crime, Eitan Levine.
That's right.
In studio, I'll say it.
What a freaking booking!
Former quarterback for Notre Dame, Brandon Wimbush. Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm good, guys. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the show. You know, you're our fourth Notre Dame athlete to come into this show.
Who else did you guys have?
We had Estime,
Okay.
who is the largest human beings I've ever seen.
He's a big guy.
Benjamin Morris.
Yeah.
Okay.
Morrison. Yeah, and then who else? Who was the?
I didn't know one. It was
the
actually
third.
two people.
The
I
third.
spoke.
Okay.
But yeah, this weekend, Notre Dame and Navy played each other in Ireland. I just want to, before we get into talk about all of your stuff, you used to play for Notre Dame. Did you feel good about what your boys did overseas to the Navy?
I felt great about it. I don't think you can come away from this weekend feeling down about the performance that these guys put on. I actually guessed that score. At least the Notre Dame score. I guessed that correctly. I guessed 42-17 going into it.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I didn't know they were going to put up. So Navy is such an interesting opponent because they run the wing T and the triple option. So you don't expect to get a lot of possessions as an offense. So you have to score. Right? That's the emphasis throughout practice. You have to score every possession that you get. So 42 points is a good outing.
What do you think it is about Notre Dame that just makes them that good?
Man, it's like every year they're just that good, and it's just a way of a culture that you've grown into and that you've created on a campus that's just winning. It's a winning culture. That's what I like to call it.
Walk me through that. Walk me
those
through your
gold helmets.
experience there. Like, what was the experience like for you playing with that team?
It was great. I had the chance to play. I started for a year and a half. Assumed a record of 10-3, but it's like the Pope, the Notre Dame quarterback, and the Dallas Cowboy quarterback, right? Those are kind of like the three, positions that you want to have in life. But
I think John Paul II has thrown way less interceptions than Dak Prescott at this point. I would not.
That's true. But no, it was good. Special campus to be a part of. I had the chance then to go to UCF and finish my career up at UCF, and you kind of get to see, how special Notre Dame is when you get to experience two campuses. But everything that they say about it, right? The alumni, the network, running out of the tunnel, right? Playing against USC, playing against Michigan, like you get to have your own schedule, right? You're not restrained by just playing in a specific conference, which gives you kind of that exposure. Which is so unique about the Notre Dame experience.
I feel like the Notre Dame experience also, if you want to talk about the fact that it's an independent team, they kind of decide their own schedule, I think it's a pretty good segue into the fact that you work with NIL students. You work with students that are trying to make money off of their likeness, which is the thing that you can now do because of the Supreme Court ruling. Now more than ever, athletes in the NCAA have freedom to kind of make their own, to make the money that's guaranteed in case an injury happens later on. They don't have to worry about, becoming a professional athlete. Just talk to me a little bit about Mogul, which is your company that deals with these NIL kids.
Yeah. So I'll push back a little bit.
Push it.
In one statement about the guaranteed money, right?
Yeah.
So Jim Harbaugh 15 minutes ago came out and said something before their game against ECU that he wishes that there would be a revenue sharing opportunity and that athletes would be able to earn the benefits that you get as almost like an employee, like health benefits and whatnot. So they don't get that right now.
No. So I mostly just mean that like in previous years,
you
could never get any money, and now you can make some money. Yeah.
Right. So through sponsorships, endorsements, marketing campaigns, right, partnerships with brands. So at Mogul, we facilitate the connection between the athletes and the brands, like a LinkedIn platform, so that they can find opportunities to monetize their name, image, and likeness. And then we also supply universities with technology to monitor some of this activity.
Can you actually just walk me through that though? Like when you say like you help, like let's say I am an NIL, let's say I'm an athlete. Let's say I play basketball for Rutgers and I'm really, really good at it. Yeah. How do I go to you and I say, hey, like make me NIL money? Yeah. What is that process actually like for people that don't understand exactly how NIL money, exists?
I think it starts with branding yourself, right? Like, we're in the business of making sure that you can find these opportunities and flourish and monetize however much you take full initiative, right? It's a self-service platform for athletes, unless you have an agent. But we serve 15,000 athletes, and so it's hard to do that at scale without technology, right? Compared to an agent like CAA who might have 15 to 30 athletes that they're helping build their brands and they're helping facilitate the connection. So we have a sales team that goes out, acquires big brands, right, from the Toyotas to the DoorDashes, that want to work with college athlete micro-influencers versus the Caleb Williams of the world. And that's our sweet spot. So the athletes sign up. It's completely free to them to use our platform. And then we have hundreds of different available marketing campaigns from brands that are looking to work with these athletes who might have 2 to 50,000 Instagram and TikTok followers. More of that sweet spot that you're not paying $100,000 for, but you might have $50,000 and you want to work with 100 or 200 influencers or micro-influencers and hit a specific college market to promote your product.
But talk to me, like, say I'm an athlete and I'm good at what I do on the field,
Yeah.
but I don't know how to set up a camera and do a TikTok dance, or I don't know how to, really market and brand myself.
Yeah.
Are those NIL opportunities not there even though I'm talented? Or is it literally them going, hey, listen, you have a face that's good for a brand.
Yeah.
We're going to slap this brand on you now that you have a face for it and you have the following for it. Like, how much is the onus on the athlete themselves to build up their platform in order to even get the NIL in the first place?
So it's a good mix. It's a great question. I think it's a good mix. I think athletes are learning. We're 2 years and a little bit more into name, image, and likeness, and they're learning that better content and better influencer techniques go a longer way when you have these brand partnerships, right? Not just so. Two things with NIL, 2 rules, right? You're not supposed to be paid based on your performance, so your play on the field. So if you score 5 touchdowns, you can't be paid based on your performance. And then NIL is not supposed to be used for recruiting, right? Okay. So you're not inducement. So the on the field performance is really hard to kind of quantify when you're saying, like, let's negotiate our brand deal because I just scored 10 touchdowns. But the better you are at making and creating content, the better off you are going to be able to negotiate a higher contract for any of these brand partnerships.
Do you think that there should be any limitations? Last year there was a case brought up where Livy Dunn, who's like one of the most famous NIL athletes out there, she was getting money for advertising an AI homework tool. Now, obviously, she's a college student, so she's getting, her advertising a tool that helps kids cheat on their tests is an issue. Do you think that there should be any limitations to what athletes should be able to advertise on their platforms?
I do. Yeah, I do. I have there's a side story behind that for after off camera, but
and the Patreon, No.
Yeah. But so the athletes, there's 5 or 4 industries that are prohibited. It's sports gambling, right? So which made for a big conversation when Barstool and Penn teamed up, and Barstool was doing a lot with college athletes. If you guys remember, about a year and a half ago, tobacco industry, the cannabis, and then adult entertainment are all industries that are prohibited from college athletes and the name, image, and likeness space. So I think the AI space is just so new, and there's not legislation around that that's kind of restricting,
But the fact that it's homework, like if I was to put my face on an Adderall, commercial,
Right.
if I was to just like all these other things that college kids are college kids and stuff like that, is there, if it goes against what the school is doing, like right. Livy Dunn is specifically going like, hey, here's how you cheat on your homework. Is that where like there should be a limitation, or is there other places that there should be a limitation?
I don't remember what happened, but I want to say that LSU put a ban on like. I think there is a distinction between like promoting it and then the use of it or something that happened with the AI company there.
What if it goes against like the schools, not just, but like say you have like a more religious school and they're like, well,
right.
we don't like this product. Like,
right.
Can you not?
So I think the best example there is alcohol, right? So each school, and that's why NIL it's such a fragmented space. There's not a federal legislation or NCAA legislation that oversees all rules. It goes all the way down to your school. And so they can prohibit or allow alcohol, for example, for athletes who are over 21, right? For you to promote those types of brands. So a lot of it comes down to whether or not the school is going to allow you. And that's why compliance is so important and, to maintain athletes' eligibility.
I got one question before we got to go to break. And, to me, NIL represents like a gold rush. Right now there is a gold rush in this. And I think that a lot of times when there's like a new fascinating money-making, thing out there, people tend to take advantage of, we can look at what's happening in Maui right now. Immediately, fires happen, real estate developers kind of come in and try to buy all that stuff. How do you protect the students in these NIL situations where it's so new that you can conceivably see someone taking advantage of them and taking advantage of their likeness. So what kind of guardrails are put up there to make sure that the students are getting screwed over here?
You figure out a federal legislation, first off. Congress needs to move on standardizing laws around this space, right? And building those guidelines that you mentioned. But I think what we can do right now from a third-party entity who's on kind of the outside of the universities is just educate, and the universities can do the same. I think when if you guys attended, four-year institutions, they always had these first semester you're on campus, you have to take this course, right, to kind of get you up to speed on maybe college life and kind of the necessities. I think NIL needs to be one of those courses that is almost mandatory for all athletes on campus, but then it also gives an advantage for someone who wants to get into sports agents or be an agent or be a marketing rep. They can take that course as well on campus and go through financial literacy, go through taxes, go through the types of opportunities in influencer marketing, how to build your brand, creating content, and then understand the compliance, right? So those components, educate athletes as best as you can. We offer a course at Mogul that we sell to athletes and universities that goes through those those modules, and I think that's all you can do, and ask that and hope that the athletes adopt the education.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We got to go to commercial break. We'll be right back with more Sports Talks Game Breakers here on Prime Video. Brandon Wimbush, everybody.
Hey.
Mogul. If you're going to make a lot of money in college, you go to Mogul, okay?
Absolutely.